Sometimes it's hard to find a 50 litre or 65 litre rucksack weighing 1.5 kilos or less, with an adjustable back system which is suitable for all the family. Montane's new Yupik and Sirenik rucksacks for 2018 can give you lots of options if you have several users in the family that want to take them out. So this is the 65 litre Yupik from Montane 2018. I'm going to go through the features of this pack, which is virtually identical to the female Sirenik 65 litre with a couple of minor differences, and I'll point out the features which aren't on the 50 litre version. It's complicated the way they've done it, but I think this might be the easiest way to go forward. So let's start with the 65 litre and what is available on the front of the pack. Well, as you can see, it has a lower pocket here, which is probably one of the main features. Perhaps slightly older in its style of rucksacks these days. Not many of them have separated compartments between the upper and the lower section. However, it does have lash straps to obviously carry the additional stress that pocket will be putting on it. And inside the pocket itself, it is, as you would hope it to be, a zipped compartment between the two. So should you wish to do so, you can unzip that and have it as one large compartment. Now, the first thing I will point out that on the Yupik 50, there is a zip separating them. There is a zip compartment flap to undo, but these straps do not exist on the Yupik 50. Coming further up the rucksack, the Grand Tour series that Montane brought out started using these twin mesh pockets, which many people have really enjoyed the benefits of being able to split your clothing or wet shelter, whatever it may be, either side, and have two generous pockets there. Obviously not the full width of the pack, however there's plenty of space in there. That is also on the 50 litre. Coming up the top of the pack, they have what they call, on this particular series, a buddy pocket. Now this buddy pocket is available so that somebody walking with you can reach into that section of the pack and grab whatever you might store in there, really. I suppose it could be maps, or it could be food, or it could be GPSs or whatever. But that pocket is separate from the additional pocket which is inside the lid. So that's the buddy pocket. Now on the 65 litre, the lid is a floating lid, but it's also removable, which will save weight. On the back of the lid at the top here, you have a built-in cover. That is the same for all rucksacks. That comes out and that will clip into 4 locations on your pack to maintain and make sure it doesn't run away. The material used in the construction is 100 denier material on the top and 420 denier material on the bottom, which makes it obviously a bit more durable for lugging around and leaving against the crags, etc. As regards side pockets, they're not the most generous in the world, but you can just reach the side pocket when carrying the rucksack, and that is the same, of course, on both sides. Now, coming around to the back of the pack, where the shoulder harness is and the adjustable system, let's have a look at that. Well, let's just look at the few features first of all. You have the hydration system here, so it can exit the pack left and right. That naturally will fall and go underneath these elasticated loops down to wherever you want them to be. The shoulder harness itself is a fairly stiff, well padded shoulder harness, and it has the click and go system that Montane have pioneered this year, or pioneered in the last few years. So the shoulder harness just simply clicks on there, and when you want to remove it, you just pull the tab and remove it. It has naturally the upper cinch straps to bring the top of the pack closer to your back system, to your shoulders, which obviously pulls the weight in, and as you can see, fairly well padded belts at the bottom with a reasonable sized pocket. Not the biggest pocket in the world, but again, munches and a few small items in there, certainly a mobile phone. The strap system around the waist goes through the pocket to ensure that it pulls the base of the pack in towards the hips, which is important. And as you can see, the back is what they call an open mesh system with lots of holes there through a fairly tough mesh to make sure the back system breathes as well as possible. Now the adjustment system is fairly simple, and the reason it holds itself well is quite well designed, in the sense that the metal stays are run down the outside. In fact, you can just see one there and there as well. The metal stays run down the outside of the pack, which means that the whole system will adjust and the shoulder harness won't rock and roll. It will stay in the place you want it to stay. But you simply just pull back the Velcro. There's a card system that comes with it to give you an indication of where it should be. So you just slide your hand in there, separate the Velcro, pull the shoulder harness where you want it to go, and then drop the pad back down again. And that's it. It's easily adjusted. So ideal if you have several people in the family that want to share a rucksack, perhaps Duke of Edinburgh and the younger members of the family, and more experienced backpackers in the older members of the family that want to take the pack out. So let's have a look inside the pack. Now, the lid is removable on the men's and women's 65 litre. It is not removable on the 50 litre. Inside the top pocket we have, as I said, a reasonable second stash pocket in there, probably slightly smaller than actually the buddy pocket, with a key fob in there, so that keeps your valuables, etc., tucked out of the way and safe. The lash strap goes across the top of the rucksack, and you have the adjustable straps here and here to allow the lid to float up and down, or obviously just unwind them completely. Now if you take the lid off completely, what are you left with? Well, they've got a, what do they call it, an asymmetric top loading system. What does that mean in English? Well, let's have a look. Basically it's a double collar that opens like that. Now if I hold it out to the front camera, you can see the shape of it there. So what that's doing is folding over one way and then folding over the other way, and it's then closing the system down when you want to use it. The inside of the material is halo coated, which is a slightly rubberized feeling, and what that means apparently is that it is making the material reasonably waterproof. They don't guarantee it to be waterproof, but it is reasonably waterproof. Now naturally down the back of the pack, let's take these pillows out. There you go. Naturally, as you look down the pack itself, you have the hydration slot here, which is actually the full width of the frame, which is useful, and it goes down to the shelf that separates the two compartments. So reasonably deep, and a useful little Velcro tab there for either keys or lashing your hydration system to, and obviously saving it from dropping down too low. So that is the 65 litre Yupik. For men, it's available in this rather fetching forest green or black. And these are the ladies' colours, Saskatoon berry and Antarctic blue. Now I did say I'd mention what the difference was between the men and the women's rucksack. There's two main features. The first one is the shoulder harness shape is more compatible with the female form, and can you see there? Yeah. And there is a secondary stitching here that takes the pressure off that part of the foam, so it relieves the pressure on the bust and not make it so uncomfortable. And the other thing is the hip belt itself is a little bit more padded, a little bit more strength to it, and a bit more comfort. But one of the key features is this webbing here that's attached to the hip belt and the back of the pack, and that helps pull in the base of the pack closer to the base of the spine and the hips. But otherwise, the Sirenik and the Yupik are virtually the same. So as weights go, It's pretty reasonable. You're looking at the 50 litre pack. As I say, the 50 litre pack, the main difference is the lid is not removable and there's no additional supporting straps over the bottom compartment. The 50 litre pack is 1.498 kilos, so just a smidge under 1.5. And the 65 litre men's is 1.59. And the women's is 1.47. So I don't know how they managed to shave off a few grams between the pair of them, but apparently they have. So there you have it, the Yupik men's 50 litre and 65 litre and the women's Sirenik 65 litre. I hope that has been some help to you.